What's up,
Cool.
everybody? It's your man Danell, aka Small Guy Promotions, coming to you with another podcast episode of What's Up Omaha. And I've got a dear friend of mine, he has already been on before, so you may have heard him on a previous podcast. But my man Steve Beach, how you doing today, Steve? Steve, you there?
I'm doing well. How about
okay.
you? Yes.
I'm good. Yeah, you never know what this.
We good? We live?
Yeah, we're good. We're live. Yeah, you froze right now too. This dang Zoom, but whatever. As long as you can hear me clearly, that's all that really matters. You can't hear me clearly, right?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yep.
Okay. I think there might be a slight delay. I don't know what's going on with the connectivity.
Yeah, I've been having some issues like with Cox here where it like my modem lights get all weird and things just slow down, then they just like ramp back up. And called them a couple times, but they've been great on the phone with customer service and responding. And it just seems like one of those things where it like high activity just seems to really kind of bog down people's systems now. So
yeah, man. Well, everybody working from home and stuff, so like it's crazy. We actually had CenturyLink because we switched like last year in June, and like even before we started working, I started working from home and stuff. We noticed like some delays when we would be streaming like Netflix or something. It was just super slow.
really?
Yeah. So like the first week of working from home, it was bad, man. Like trying to get work done and like a client is waiting on the other end and like
Yeah.
it was horrible. It was
All
horrible.
familiar with it. But I've worked from home for a while.
So nothing new to you. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
It keeps freezing up. I don't
You,
know.
yeah. Still?
Yeah, it just told me that my internet connection is unstable. What? Anyway,
Oh man. See? They heard us talking about it.
come on, bro. So we actually just after that first week, man, I was like, nah, we can't do this. So I switched back to Cops. It hadn't even been a year. So
Really?
yeah, man, CenturyLink, they were just dropping the ball, bro. And then like when we called initially to ask, they were like, well, because we were just gonna like step up the service, and they were like,
Yeah, boost it. Like give a boost to like the signal and stuff.
well, we're
Like
just
that
gonna
thing.
we're gonna like buy to the next tier or whatever. We're gonna.
Oh yeah.
But they were like, yeah, it's $100 just to have a tech come out to put in whatever. And I'm like, why don't we already have that? Like, why didn't we get that when we signed up initially? You're gonna charge us $100 just to have a guy come out and do that? Like,
That's
yeah,
why.
yeah. We're
There
like,
you go. Spending the cash.
we're not doing
It's
that.
it's
So then
the
I was like, whatever. So we just went ahead and signed back up for Cox, and then Mitzi called CenturyLink, and they were like, "Oh, we could have waived that fee for you. Yeah, we could have done that." I'm like,
yeah, of course.
well, we would have stayed with you guys if you would have, waived that fee, but that you guys didn't offer to do that. So I don't know. And then there was some, bro, they like contacted Mitzi after we signed up to get direct deposit set up. And then they said that if you sign up for direct deposit, you'll get $10 off your bill a month. We never saw the $10 off a month. And I wasn't on the bill.
What?
Mitzi kept getting a call. I was like, Mitzi, I still don't see that the bill is the same. It hasn't changed.
Right.
Never addressed it, which whatever, it's $10 a month. So total, it's not a big deal. We weren't even with them a year. But when she called them to cancel, they wouldn't refund the whole amount. They would only give 3 months of the $10. But they didn't even give the full $10. It ended up being like $18. And I'm like, yeah, that's bad customer service. That like we didn't do anything wrong. We signed up for direct deposit or auto bill pay, whatever.
Right.
And you guys didn't do what you're supposed to do, and then you're gonna tell us that we don't get the whole whole amount of funds back. Like where do they do that at? Where is that acceptable at?
I'm really amazed at how many people like that drop the ball, like customer service wise on these, with cell phone carriers or internet service providers that are almost like at this point in time are really necessities in people's lives. And I don't know, man, like I've had my fair share of experiences where, oh yeah, we'll do this. And then you have to get it undone seems to be like
Yeah,
huge hassle. It almost like they count on the fact of making it a problem that people would just cave and just say, I'll just pay the extra or I'll just take the loss or whatever. But
yeah,
they
yeah.
make it difficult to hold their feet to the fire on it and hold them accountable. So that's a
Dude,
little frustrating.
like when the dudes, like I was in the house and this was last summer. I was in the house and Jamila was at school, uh, and I was coming out to go and pick her up, and there was two dudes outside talking to Mitzi, and I saw that one of them had a Direct TV shirt on, and I was like, nope, we don't want it. That's the only thing I said. Nope, we don't want it because we already had Direct TV, and they
Wait,
were,
you don't want the Sunday ticket that they offer you?
bro, did I tell you about the issues with that? Like,
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
oh man, it was such a hassle, and we had to record them multiple times to get
Oh man.
the service disconnected because they were trying to do stuff that we don't want to do. So I didn't want any parts of it. So of course
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part, it wasn't too horrible with CenturyLink, but like the last however many months, it wasn't holding up. So whatever, whatever. So we're back at Cox, and Cox even tried to sell me because I'm just like, we need the lowest tier, whatever. I looked at the website.
Yeah.
Based on what we needed the lowest tier. So when I couldn't do it online for some reason, they said that, or I chatted with a person. They said I had to call. I called, and then yeah, I said, yeah, give me this one. And she's like, oh well, you should really do this one. You might experience. She's trying to like get upsell me, man. She was like, you might experience some slowness or delays. I'm like, it's cool, man. Like we're not gaming or anything. All I'm doing is using it for work. They might
Yeah.
be watching TV or a tablet or something, but we don't require a lot. So I haven't had any real issues that I've noticed. So
Do you
whatever.
just have the signal coming from your router? Do you just have that?
Yeah, I didn't link it straight up. Yeah.
Oh, I got we were having some issues like dead zones kind of in our house. So I just got this. I don't know how good it's going to work, but I've heard uh, people tell me it's like a Wi-Fi booster that you just like plug into an outlet, and it's got these
Yeah.
little antennas that like
Yep.
sync up with and make it so it's on order, and I'm going to try and test that out and see if we
It
can
supposedly
like,
works.
yeah, because we're thinking about setting some stuff up in the backyard, with like being able to stream. And I tried it once before, and when a lot of people are here using devices and you're trying to run stuff, I mean, you need something that's going to kind of beef it up. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping that's going to fix the problem.
I mean,
But
I used
yeah,
to work at Best Buy. I remember people used to come in for those, like bigger houses and stuff.
yeah, well, I don't have a big house. It just seems like the service or the signal just didn't get it strong. But it was weird. Like we were in a split entry, but our old house was a 2-story, and the router was in the basement, and our bedrooms were on the second floor, and it would connect a lot better than it does sometimes here. I don't know I don't know if there's just more stuff getting in the way, but that seems to be the logical explanation for it. So I get it, man. It's
Yep.
when that signal goes weak, you're like, dang, man.
Yeah, man. I mean,
It has a control over you a little bit.
yeah, man. Especially when you're trying to get work done. Like that's like
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
annoying because you might already be like trying to get through some stuff, and then like you have a delay as you're trying to like you're in the middle of a conversation typing to a customer, client, and then like you're like, dude, I just have the hourglass icon.
Yep.
Come on, bro. Like, and there's just so
I,
many issues.
yeah, I got like my router's like right. The company gave me a laptop, and it like can like hook up to like this docking station and go on these dual monitors. And my router's right next to it, to like strongest signal. I think I even had a hard line, but still, like as we speak right now, my modem, one of the lights, like the upload button, is like a solid amber. So mine may cut out on you, just so you know. But yeah, so what's up, man? What's new?
Yeah, man.
How you adjusting to this life?
Now that we've caught up, during this uh, coronavirus quarantine state that we're in, um, yeah, man, we're cool. We do the school. Well, Mitzi helps a lot with the kids for the school stuff. They use Zoom for the kids. I'm sure your
Yeah.
school's doing that too. So, uh,
Yeah, Vinny, we get like weekly emails from his teacher, and then like I think she's set aside certain times and days to kind of check in as a class and stuff like that. So, um, yeah, that's kind of where we're at. It's a way of the world for right now. But
I'm not, bro. It's me personally. Like it's not a bad deal. I get to hang at home with my family all the
yeah,
time. That's a plus for me. I know it kind of sucks for Mitzi because she wants to work and she can't work. So I mean,
oh
that's
yeah, because she has to be out, and and she interacts in that service world, right?
yeah.
You know,
Yeah, salons can't be open right now. So
you
uh,
can't virtually cut someone's hair.
yeah, so it's a
Hey,
struggle there.
oh man, I tell you, like all the people that you see. I mean, I'm grateful I can have employment. That
Yep.
a lot of people that in this country, maybe globally, filing for unemployment stuff like that. Like my brother got a furlough, for like a couple weeks. You know, my sister also like hours cut dramatically. Because she's in the food industry, and then the other one works at helps with like seniors at a manual. I think it's a manual, but she's just, healthcare worker. So, it's just kind of all over the spectrum in my small bubble.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, man. I really don't care. I say it all the time. I really don't care for my employer, but at a time like this, you just got to be grateful for work, for being employed. I mean,
Absolutely. It's especially with the volume that I'm dealing with. It helps. The real estate side is taking kind of a hit.
that's
The
what
people are still out there.
that's what
But
I wanted to talk about is the
gotcha.
the real estate game. But before we get into that, let's get the trash out of the way real quick.
Yeah,
Uh,
sure.
with this working from home that we were talking about. So
Yeah,
with employers starting to put in required hours, you don't have to say your employer name. I never say my employer's name when I'm
right.
talking crap. But required mandatory overtime and stuff, and
hmm
you understand that they don't really care as much about associates as they may make it seem when they push, oh, we value your time with family, but then they say that mandatory overtime or whatever. And
hmm
it's like, for me, I said this before, I was prepared to be fired because I wasn't going to work any overtime. I was prepared. That was before coronavirus, right? But working, like, it's different now. Working from home, dude, it's so easy. So my initial plan was to just, the travel time, I would still get up at the same time. And instead of traveling, I would just come and log in right away. And then at home time, I would still stay and logged in. Then I would get my mandatory time right there. Boom, not a problem. Well, I can't do jujitsu or anything. I mean, they still have it open, but we're not going. So
Yeah.
it's just grind time, man. Like getting money. Like I, if I'm just gonna be sitting on the couch watching TV, I might as well be sitting here making money. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think, I've just been accustomed to it. Like I've known about how the flexibility can go. It makes it able to be more tolerable, I think, to be able to do OT when you're at your house. And I think employers are now going to start realizing like the value and the capability that's able to produce,
Yeah, we
like,
gotta go to work and deal with all that BS all the time.
or
Okay,
like building costs, like just building costs from an owner standpoint. Like if they can just have, their employees front their own internet connections and their own electrical bills and stuff like that, than having to provide a place of business for it. I think we're going to see a changed world. Like I
well,
think,
I think they would have to put some money behind that though if they're going to be requiring people to work from home full time. I mean, depending on the setup. Like my company told us last week that we shouldn't be turning off our tower, and I'm like, I don't have a workspace, so it's just
uh,
a dining room table that seats 10
yeah,
between four of us. So on the opposite end of where this laptop is the workstation. So
yeah,
like it drives me nuts coming back on when I turn it off at night. So I just started powering it completely off, like the outlet, because it's the only thing that's plugged into the power strip is that. So I just was turning it off, and they were like, "No, don't do that." So I'm like, well, again, luckily for me, they gave us a stipend for people who needed to buy equipment and whatnot. Uh, but yeah, if that's going to be an ongoing cost, I mean, however much it costs a year, but still, you got to think about things like they don't have to pay for, the break room, all the stuff that they supply for free, like coffee and tea and all that stuff.
yeah,
Food days and stuff that they do, they don't have to worry about doing that stuff anymore. Like it's a benefit. Happier associates, I think, in a lot of cases. Maybe not in all cases, but
yeah. It takes. I've heard from like my industry, like where we're at, and you know, my who I work for is not in state, so like all the people in state are, they allowed the work from home. So all the people that we now are working with was a huge adjustment, whereas all the people at my local office are been adjusted to it. It takes some discipline, sometimes, to where you have to kind of separate your home and distractions from the work life. But my company offered, like when it first went down, you had to get like a certain graphics card of some kind, I think, so you can bring your own PC in, and they would just install whatever
okay.
they needed to run the dual monitors. And then now they issue everybody a laptop.
Yeah,
So
we had to have there's security measures in
yep,
my industry that we couldn't do that. It'd be too
yeah, a
much.
lot of like logging in, like stuff like that. You got to log in. So I'm like logging into like the server at work in order to and then I like access my like at work desktop. So it can like, so I don't know how they do it. I'm not really tech savvy enough to how that all goes down, but
I know what you
you know,
mean.
I see, man, I see this opening the door to a lot of this being possible in a lot of industries that didn't think it was possible. Just to maintain. I just worry that it's still gonna be an issue to connect that work life. What you think it's going to be with the work life, it's going to be more work home life. For a lot of people.
Well, yeah,
And
I feel like the the employers feel like we talked about, like you should be working more because it's right there at home. Like,
yeah, commute times are cut down, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, you can literally be awake and on in minutes rather than like an hour.
yeah.
From the time you get up to get dressed, and it's interesting to see where this is going to lead.
When
I
you said
just
that before we
Yeah.
went live, you said that you have to abide by a 10-hour a week mandatory rule.
It was worded that way in so many words. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
See, that's
so it was kind of like, I don't know. I didn't take it like that hard, I guess. I mean, it was kind of weird how it was structured. It was just kind of like, yeah, we're starting, this date going forward. This amount per week, hour wise, and this amount per week, like file wise. So it's kind of a partnership between the two. And I can see both sides of it as an employer, being like, you should have no problem doing this, like we're saying, because of the convenience. But also when you have to take into account all the other changes going on in the world, um, as opposed to, from like being at home and kids aren't in school and
yeah. You got
trying to adjust. Yeah, you're trying to adjust all that. It can make it a little challenging, when you put in, your time, and then you have your family time, and sometimes it's difficult to want to have the energy to get back on at the end of the night or earlier in the morning. But I can, I don't know how I feel about it. I think employers should maybe be a little more empathetic to kind of what's happening right now. That's true.
that's what it.
I mean, that could, yeah, money incentivizes everything, especially now when people are scared that they may not have a job. So maybe they're just trying to, grab as much as they can to see
Well, and
not knowing
they
what's going to happen.
try to flex a little bit. They're like,
Yeah,
"What you gonna do? You gonna find a
yeah,
new job? You got to
yeah,
deal with it, bro."
yeah. And that if they beat that drum, it's a little, you know, it makes it a little more challenging,
Hey,
culture wise.
hey, I had a real honest conversation with my manager because he knew I was like, and for me, it's just the principle of things. Like that's what I have a hard time of getting over.
Yeah,
Don't tell me to do. Don't tell me to do something that was never like the thing before. Like, so he called me up last week because he knew that I was like heated about stuff, just because we still have group chats and stuff. And I
hmm
told him like what the situation was, and I was like, "Yo, man, like I shouldn't feel like I want to hurt somebody like when I come to work. Like I'm like it's not even like the job. It's the upper people making decisions that feel like they think just because we're working from home they can have us do whatever. And it's one thing if they want to change something, but they need to adequately communicate it and then execute it upon the expectation that they set in the beginning. I'm not going to go into too much details, but there were some things that seemed super shady that were going on that they should have told us about in the beginning. As
right,
far as how the overtime was going to be worked out, but they didn't do that. Overall, it's not a huge issue, but there might have been an issue. I mean, for me, there might have, and that's what I told my manager. I'm like, there's other people that might have been depending on that. We don't live check to check, luckily. So, but there
right.
have been other people who needed a certain something a certain way. So I just told him like, man, we need communication. Like a lot of stuff would be easier to swallow if we just had that communication. Like, yeah, when you do stuff like this and you don't say anything about it, it seems shady, and it makes associates feel a certain way. Like you have a certain like uneasiness. Number one, you might have some anger or some frustration.
hmm
So we had, like I said, we had a real honest conversation.
So is their main way of communicating to people through a group chat, or is it mainly like
Just
email?
do our
Like,
team stuff. I mean,
gotcha.
well, they've gone to a new, like we have our internal site where a lot of stuff is at, but uh,
Right.
they also communicate through not the group chat, but they have bigger chats that they do because they try to cut down on the amount of emails that people get.
Yeah.
So
Well, mine's been doing like daily phone calls where it's just kind of a brief check-in with the team, and then a lot of it's communicated through email, which like for example, that required expectation that got changed was sent out through an email. So
yeah,
it's kind of like when you get things done that way, which I understand it's a best way to communicate with people, but I think that's the big thing is the communication, because it kind of takes away that open door policy to somewhat, because people can act way different in an email, group chat, or over the phone than you can just face to face in person. That's why I think that there's value to that, and I think that's going to be one of the challenges, like you're saying, from what your experience. Well, I've had that experience multiple times, where it's like someone sends me an email or an IM of some kind, and then all of a sudden it can just be misconstrued so many ways. Whereas face to face, I think needs to be kind of an integral part, if it's going forward with all the work from home stuff. Just because, you know,
well, well,
at
my
least you had an open. Good for you, man. Good for you for speaking your mind.
bro,
Most
I've been
people
there too
just.
long to not.
I know, right?
I were like a new associate or something, like it'd be different. But I'm like, bro, I got too many years in here for like
How was it? Is it over 10? You've been there over
it's
10, right?
12.
12.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dang,
So
this January was 16 for me.
yeah, I
16.
had on Pat Stillwagon. I had him on last week.
Yeah.
When we talked about coronavirus and like being a postal service worker.
Right.
He just came up on 16 years too.
Oof.
Post office.
Yeah.
So
We're at that point in life where we're hitting some milestones. So
yeah, man.
work
So we're
wise.
a lot old. All this gray in the
Yeah.
beard and stuff.
Oh man, don't let this fool. I almost put a hat on.
Hey man, well that's enough talking about that, man. Let's talk
Yeah,
about
yeah, yeah.
man.
Sure.
So a major thing or a reason why I wanted to talk to you again on the podcast. Well, we said that we would try to do it more often anyway.
Yeah.
It's cool, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
is like the real estate market right now. You're a real estate agent for MP Dodge.
Sure.
How has the game changed? I still see people with sell signs up. I still see people like moving in and Mayflower trucks driving down the street. So I know people
Yeah.
are moving. So how has coronavirus COVID-19 affected the real estate game?
They've done a lot of precautions, like everybody did when it first came out, as far as internal offices and stuff go. It seems like we work through like the MLS, which is the Great Plains MLS system, like the Omaha Area Board of Realtors, and they're kind of the ones
Yeah,
who
does MLS stand for money laundering service?
no,
No.
multiple listing service.
Oh, okay, cool. Close.
So yeah, I don't know if they would broadcast it MLS of money laundering to the public. But yeah, they once all this kind of came out, there was an agent with Berkshire that contracted it and passed away from the COVID-19.
Oh, really?
And I don't know if that is what prompted it. I can't remember. I kind of been out of that because my clientele, for the most part, and me personally, in the early stages of this thing, was just kind of like, I knew that was going to get shut down. Like I just had it, and no business was just going to kind of come to a halt. But people still do want to proceed with it, just like now. I mean, some people, as long as you take the right precautions, but as a seller standpoint, if you're residing in the home and you're having the volume of traffic come through of people, I think it can kind of, I've heard people limiting how many people can come to a showing.
Yeah.
Like an agent, maybe just one other person.
Yeah, I was wondering how I broke down with stuff like that. Like,
I think it's more kind of putting good practices in place where, only one person is touching door handles and, just kind of, taking, yeah, people do, gloves and masks if they want to. I think it's kind of all like, hey, here's some ways to navigate through this, and it's kind of up to you. So, the market, I think the initial shock of all this has kind of maybe subsided a little bit, and the market's really picking back up just because this is a busy time of year, and it's unfortunate where I get a lot of volume, but now it's kind of dwindled because people just don't know what's going to happen.
right.
They may have money now and have a job, but so like what happened was they've initially dropped the rates to try to stimulate the economy, which is why you saw this boom in refis, which I personally jumped on the refi bandwagon and I got a refi.
I tried, and it was like really good. And then when my mortgage guy got back to me, he said it's already jumped from where it
Yep.
was. He's like, I'll keep it posted if it goes back down.
Yeah, I don't know. I got this like inclining. So I contacted my lender and I was like, I'm thinking about doing this. And they're like, oh yeah. Like, and we dropped our rate significantly. We closed tomorrow on it. And even that's changed, like how that whole world has changed, with closings and signings. So anyway, back to the original, I think that volume is going to start picking up, but I think it's all kind of just subjective to what people's comfort levels are. I think they're kind of seeing that this may be kind of stabilizing somewhat, and it's not peaking as it anticipated. So you may start to see that ramp up, but I think the practices of how it's going to go, there's really no telling how long that's going to last. Like closing, like tomorrow, we have to go in this room that's only been authorized by one closer, and it's like a little vestibule, and they have a glass in front of them. They're going to slide the documents underneath, and they Lysol it and spray it down and wipe it down after every single person's been in there. So they send me all the stuff in an email prior, so we're not reviewing the documents there, and it's just like all the stuff that needs to be signed just is going to slide under. And they're not taking any checks. I got to wire the money. It's just a lot of that kind of stuff where it's removing physical aspects of processes. So yeah, that's kind of what I've seen. I've had a few buyers that were supposed to like pull the trigger this year, this spring, and everyone just kind of at a standstill. Other people have been getting, I guess it all depends on your clientele and what they're comfortable with is probably
Right.
the best bet to go off of, but that's where we're at. And like,
Yeah, it's definitely a crazy time that people don't really know what to do. A lot of uncertainty, rightfully so. And then you have people who just you know, like they don't necessarily believe that it's real, like what's going on and whatnot, and they think it's like a government ploy to, for some reason, to keep. Which I don't know why the government would want to keep everybody at home. I don't know what advantage they have for keeping people at home. You know,
I
some
don't know why the government does a lot of things.
you too. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't trust the government, and I'm sure they're listening right now.
Man, I don't know. I've always like I always listen to a lot of podcasts and a lot of people who just kind of have opinions and theories, stuff like that. And I try not to let my go down that rabbit hole too much, but that some of it makes sense. Like I mean, you can see both sides of it, and
Yeah,
a lot of times it's like weird. Yeah, they want to keep people home, but
Joe sent me a video the other
yeah,
week. I looked at it and I was like, yeah, that doesn't sound right. I mean, it was like a conspiracy thing with the 5G networks and all this stuff. And I was like, yeah,
yeah.
that doesn't sound right. That doesn't.
Oh, like the 5G causing this stuff?
Yeah, like I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
that doesn't seem legit. Like, you
I don't buy into all that.
know,
I don't think that this, if you're talking about this virus directly, it's very coincidental that it comes from a place where there was like a lab, like it came from that place. And, it just seems like, it's like a lot of this speculation of, oh, they're not reporting accurate numbers,
like
or they're, yeah, like, I don't know. I find it very convenient that at this time, everything just kind of flooded to panic and worry people. Everything did, you have stuff closing down, you have things, people working from home, schools are closing early, wearing masks in public, don't touch anybody, it just seems like it was this mass push of do these things, but then it was treated like it was like this airborne instant death kind of a situation, which we still, I guess it's because they just didn't know. And I get it. You're trying to be cautious, but it's just weird that it's not having the effect, I think, my opinion, that of what maybe it's because they know the measures, but it's not having the effect of what they're saying this thing could have done. So
oh yeah, I don't know, man. I know, a guy on my team at work, his mom's friend died from, well, at least from what they say is coronavirus,
yeah,
the other week and whatnot. So like, I don't know, man. For me, it's like, again, coronavirus has been, with the exception of Mitzi not being able to work, coronavirus has not really had a negative impact on my life.
yeah,
We go out to the store, go out to eat, to pick up food, of course.
right.
The only thing is that we can't go and do what we want to do when we want to do it, which I'm like, you know what? If I died in 2 weeks, at least I would say that I was able to spend as much time with my family as possible. That's all that really matters. So like,
And that's that I totally see that, and a lot of people are noticing that. I've been accustomed to that way for a while, just being at home with my family. Like, so it's like I've came across that gratefulness like a while back. Like I totally understand what people are talking about now. It's a little bit of an adjustment, but once you kind of get a routine and a pattern established, it's going to be weird. I don't think ramping back up to normal is going to happen as drastically and as quickly as ramping down as what it was.
Yeah, well, and there's no bounce back. I was watching a video yesterday talking about Papillion and the mayor and stuff, and saying that Papillion is in a good way right now because they plan for something to happen. So
Yeah.
there's not going to be like a huge increase in like tax or whatever. But there was some other mayor or something. I don't know if it was Bennington or somewhere. They were talking about how the money that's been lost, like you can't recoup that for like the cities and states and stuff. Like there's no way to recoup that. So that's where there's going to be an issue with on a bigger level, not just like a local level. So I don't know, man. I don't know what it'll look like. You know what? I'm not really trying to concern myself too much. Like I told Mitzi yesterday, I'm not too worried about things. All I'm doing right now is I'm trying to make sure that I stack up all this money. That's another thing about that OT.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've been blowing the doors off because I'm just like, I'm home. So 70, 80 hours of overtime in the last 5 weeks. I'm just trying to make sure to stack money for when the market, I want to put some in the market when the market does bounce back. We have that, plus we have some in savings, and then make some right investment choices and hope
Oh,
that
for sure.
make a little bit off of it. So
For sure. It's a lot of people aren't in the positions I think we're in, like we have a job. I think we go way back with the whole getting the money right situation on the right mindset for that. So,
wish I had this
you
house.
know,
So that's
oh
something
my
I wish
gosh.
the house paid off.
Yeah. What the good thing with my refi is I've added more value. My appraisal, we closed on it last May, and then my appraisal came back again after finishing these 2 bathrooms off. And what the market's done since I bought, it's unbelievable, like what equity I have in my home, and that's big. That's a good long-term investment is your home. And I'm just kind of wondering what's going to happen. Like we haven't even seen what's going to happen in the economy based upon the housing market. That's what I'm kind of keeping notice of, like 6 months down the road. Yeah, it's good now because everybody gets issued a check. If you're $1,200 a person or plus 500 a kid, which
Yeah.
it's not going to save you. Like there's more depth to it, and I just kind of think we're going to see what's going to happen. There may be, I have, I'm kind of connected to a lot of people in that world of lending and real estate, and people are sitting on cash. They're waiting for foreclosures to come across and people going in default, and they want to swap those properties, on the cheap and add to their portfolios because real estate's a good long-term hold. It just takes a lot to get into it because if it's not a residential, you have to have like 20 to 25% down payment to get it as a non-residential property. It's an investment property. So
Yeah.
not a lot of people have access to that kind of cash. They just don't. And some people have been sitting on it until they can, and they can make a good solid investment. And, you can get a $200,000 house for a discount
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then hold on to it, have someone else pay the mortgage, and boom, you own it. So,
I wish
that's
my
on
money
my
was
to-do
real
list. What's that?
I wish my money was real right. I wish
Oh
that
man,
was right, but yeah.
make moves like that. It takes some time and there's a lot of working parts, but yeah, I do want to get into getting some investment properties in my portfolio and stuff like that. But I totally agree with, just try to sit on some cash as you can, make some good moves. Our refi went from, my gosh, man, the rate was unbelievable. I couldn't pass it up. Like I had to do it, even though we just closed less than a year ago. I have to reclose on it again, but it's worth it. We'll
Yeah.
recoup the money in like 18 to 24 months, I think, somewhere around
Yeah.
there.
We're at 4.625, I think. And we would have been at or something, or maybe 4.25. I can't remember what it was 2 years ago. Yeah, we were looking real nice at 3 something, but by the time he was probably busy too. By the time we got the communication back and forth, it was just through email. I should have called him or something.
Yeah,
But
yeah. They
yeah,
were slammed.
it was too
The
late.
whole market was slammed with people trying to do that because we were last May we're at 4,375 is what and then I got locked in early March like 3,125, which is over a point, so it was worth it.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. It just can knock some off the monthly mortgage payment, and that's a long-term smart idea. It was kind of weird, man, because like the appraiser had to come here to do the appraisal, and they were at the front door, and that had like 10 feet away from the front door. It's like, we just have to ask you these questions before they came in. We got little kids, so they came in and they took pictures and like didn't touch anything, and didn't even go in the same room that my children were all in. So it's like you see that world where it's like that separation for a reason. It just seems like, man, people aren't as connected physically like they once were with handshakes and hugs and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, my mom came over yesterday. I was like, hey, 6 feet. 6 feet. She can do
I saw some guy make a hat that had like pool noodles on them, like stuck out so no one could get close to him.
Yeah.
It's just inventive. Like that's going to be the new term, like selfies, social distancing. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, she
that's
went
going
and
to
hugged the
be,
kids, and I was like, "What are you doing?
oh man.
Why are you? No, you don't do that." And then she, I don't know if you know, I don't know if we talked about it, but my mom has these kids that she takes care of that were pretty much dumped on her doorstep through her new
Oh
husband.
no, I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
yeah. We're not gonna get into that now. But
It's
she
okay.
brought this little. I don't know why she always has to bring the little girl. Whenever we are doing something, which the little girl is fine, but this little girl is like 2 or 3 or something. I don't even know how old she is. No, she's got to be older than that. But she doesn't know what 6 feet means. Why are you bringing this little girl? I mean, I don't know where you guys have been. Like, why are you bringing? Oh man, I was like, I told Nancy after she left, I said, nobody can come over here. Nobody else can come over.
No, I get it. We've had a few people in our home. We were finishing up our bathroom, like our master bathroom, and it was kind of, once this all hit, we still needed a contractor to come over. And it's Joe's next door neighbor, actually. He helped us in both of our updates, and he was like, I don't want to catch this thing, and so we both kind of like screened each other to be like, where have you been? What have you been around? And like we both were, he wore a mask and everything. So I get it, but like just the thought of somebody in your home, even if they are taking precautions, just it's
Oh,
like, I don't know, you look at it differently now,
bro, we didn't
right?
even let them come in. I was like, y'all gotta stay outside. It's a
I
nice
know.
day outside. We put out some chairs and sit outside.
Well, that's what we did last night. We went to my brother-in-law's. They had set up a movie projector in the backyard, and like everybody had their little family designated spots, and it was great. How we were able to like navigate through it. Yeah, I didn't think it was going to work, but kids stayed where they need to stay. It's kind of hard to relay that to them. We
Yep.
like, oh, you can't see these people, but then like we have neighbors on either side of us that have people over all the time. Like they're outside, hanging out and stuff. So it's like they see that, and it's hard to be like, well, we can't do it because of this.
Yeah, and kids, like I know Arya's been sad about not being able to hang out with kids and stuff. And like, dude, it sucks.
It's
I know.
kind of strange.
So we just try to get them outside and stuff. Like we went for a walk and a bike ride the last couple of days. So that's what we've been trying to do. So whatever it is, man. So
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the world has changed. I hope everybody is okay. I don't know anybody personally that's had any
either.
encounters with this virus, and I just hope that.
I tell you what, if it is legit and somebody around here has it, everybody's gonna get it. Because when I went to Walmart last week, man, it was just crazy. A group of adults just together. I'm like, dude, did you guys not like? Why can't you stay in the car, bro? Like, I don't know why three adults have to go in to the place. Like,
I just get I've ordered the pickup where we've been doing that before this even took place. It's so convenient. You just get the app, you just start adding stuff, and you just go set a time, and you just go. They come bring it to your car, and you're done. It's
big money because I get a bunch of stuff just because I see it. Ooh.
Oh yeah, it's a little. Once you kind of build it up though, you get like your favorites added to the cart that's your regular items. So it's just helpful for stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then, but I'm telling you, it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. And I'm just grateful. Like I have a job, and my family's provided for and taken care of, and I'm just trying to build up my immune system as much as I can. Down, intaking a bunch of vitamin C and trying to eat right, get somewhat exercise put in just to kind of maintain the immune system. I think is people's best defense. I don't have any underlying health reasons that may make me more susceptible, but just allergies, man. Which
yeah, I know. I've been good though. I've been so good, but whatever. But man, I know I've taken a bit of your time, probably a little bit more than we're talking about, but I'll go ahead and cut it so I can get everything straightened up and get it released.
Sure.
Man, it's good to see you. Good to talk to you.
Oh yeah, it's
friends anymore or talk to friends. So
well, last time was at what's it called? Pint Nine, right? That we were at, and that was like right when all this was like, about to hit, and everybody's like, "Oh, don't be in public," and and then it just, I don't know, we really weren't too concerned, but
Yeah. And it was like at that time they were still saying groups of less than 200. So
yeah, it was a bigger amount of people, and then
yeah.
it like gets down to 10. Now we're at 10. So
So I don't know, whatever.
yeah.
All right, man. Can you give your information real quick so people know if they do have questions about real estate? I feel like we didn't talk enough about real estate, but it's cool. You'll be back on again.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, we'll wrap it up. Well, you can reach me. I'm with the MP Dodge broker. So it's sbeach@mpdodge.com.
Hi, Daniel.
Danelle says hi. He just saw you. Yeah, that's my wife with the baby walking by. But yeah, that's the best way to kind of get a hold of me. Any real estate needs, you want to talk, what do you think your house is worth? Steps to take to improve your home sale, how to attack the market as a buyer. It's highly competitive at times, and you got to kind of know strategies to take place with that. So you can also, can I get my phone number out? Is that weird?
Whatever you want, bro. It's going to be in the podcast anyway.
All right. Well, and also directly getting a hold of me, text, phone call, 402-319-1306. That's all over my webpage. Webpage. I do have a Facebook, Sea Beach Realtor. If you want to get a hold of me there, that's where I like to try and somewhat stay connected with people through that. So yeah, anybody got any questions, concerns, what they think the market's doing, strategies, I'm your go-to expert. So I greatly appreciate to help you. Thank you for allowing me to plug that. Appreciate it.
That's what it's about, man.
For sure.
That's the whole goal. I don't usually have this much fun with everyone. So I mean, I feel like I always have good interviews, but it's definitely cool to have friends on. Like there are friends, but then there are friends. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, we go way back.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Way back.
But
well, you're doing great things, man. I appreciate the opportunity, and hopefully I can be a repeat customer. I know, right?
Yeah. So, all right, everybody, that's it. Thank you for tuning in to another podcast episode of What's Up, Omaha. I hope you smile, help someone else smile, laugh and help someone else laugh all day, every day. Peace out. Yeah. All right, Steve, I'm going to just stop the video or stop the recording. Yeah.